not on demand. That way the author can actually get back on his feet after being a political prisoner, and we can make sure we can ship these out to you and fund our own operation. So it's back in print, Bloodlines, the Illuminati. Amazing book, available at Infowars.com, or call 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. People always complain I never give the address out. It's P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760. And your purchase of this book, and by the way, it sells for as much as $300 on eBay and Amazon because it's been quasi out of print, not really promoted. It's not going to be a rare book now, though. We're putting thousands of them out, and that's good news. This information needs to be known. But for you entrepreneurs out there, you can buy them now while they're still going for that much online. You can buy them for a fraction of that and sell them. So again, available at Infowars.com. Bloodlines, Illuminati by Fritz Springmeier. Published by Tracts, his publisher, his company. Now, getting into this, we've done a lot of basic dredging of research I'd already done over the years, but I asked John Bound to go back, one of our nightly news coordinators, and he also works here on the radio show as a producer. I asked him to go back, and I just said, search this. And you can do this too. You'll find a lot more than we're going to present here, because it's one thing to find something, to get it and put it to graphics and video and show it to you here. And if you're a radio listener, a new listener, you're going, show it to us. Yes, we're blasting out on XM 166, over 100 AM and FM affiliates, and global shortwave WWCR 100,000 watt blowtorch. So that's our big audience. But I got sick many years ago, going back 17 years ago, first getting on air, with people saying you're making that up. So I created Infowars.com, so whatever I covered that night, doing it myself at first, and then my girlfriend, and then folks I hired, updating whatever main stories I was going to cover, I would just post links to them or legislation so I wasn't making it up. And then I said, why not just start putting the show to video so it's all right there? So, I mean, because we post a link to stuff and Washington Post can take it down. But if I show it to you here, or I show you a video clip, or I show you Rothschilds wearing devil necklaces, or I show you articles about Francois Mitterrand, the former French leader, you can find all these articles about him obsessed with Luciferian rituals, him involved in all sorts of weird activity, his commissioning of the Louvre pink pyramid with 666 pieces of glass. I had a professor on a few years ago that published a book where they admit that the big parliaments in Ottawa and other areas in the provincial capitals are all built to occultic specifications of 666, and it's admitted, and they shut them down and do rituals in them. A lot of public buildings, they shut down areas of them and do rituals in them. And again, these are the religions that predate Christianity, that had to go underground under that. They don't call themselves devil worshipers. The devil is their god. Lucifer, the light bearer. And there's really 360 degrees in the Illuminati Masonic system. Low-level Masons don't even know this, and early on, we're not part of it, because it even, Masonry goes back to Solomon and secret knowledge, and that was more of you'd call it the right hand of Jewish mysticism itself, that came out of, well, after the captivity, Babylonian and the Zohar and the rest of it, but that's all new compared to the Egyptian. This all is Egyptian. And then it went into Greece, and then that went into Rome. This is the system. And they're all about knowledge, how humans operate, study of knowledge, control. But within these larger schools of mystery school, many of which see themselves as altruistic, always at the core, the violent, the psychopathic, the murdering, the most brutal, always take control. So I'm giving you this from their perspective, you understand? That in this whole occult universe, which just means hidden, it's all the colors of the rainbow. But always at the heart of it are the most vicious, murdering, child-killing people you can imagine. Skull and Bones, Bohemian Grove, all of it. It is about how ruthless you can be. And you see this manifested, and we're going to Fritz here in a moment. I want to preface this. You see this manifested in every organized crime syndicate, whether they be Russian, Italian, Jewish, Latin American. You've got to kill an innocent to really get into the inner sanctum. Go kill that old lady. Go rob an old man in a truck and shoot him in the head. We want to see it on the news. Go kill a kid in a playground. Even in many branches of La Cosa Nostra, they burn images of Jesus and Mary and say a little devilish prayer. It's like showing that you'll really get into something wicked. And you go to Bohemian Grove, it's just a gateway to the pedophile stuff that they do off-site from our research. It's like, okay, be part of this or we don't trust you. So it's basically rolling around in the cess is how you become part of the club. And they constantly, in different European countries, you can just type it up, government officials caught in pedophile scandal, government officials caught in occult scandal. Just start page search engine these terms. Use a search engine, search them. Rothschilds, the occult. Tony Blair, the occult. Hillary Clinton, the occult. Tony Blair, spirit of the light. It's in the London Guardian, other articles. He flops around on the ground every morning and is possessed by it. I mean, you can't make this up. Francois Mitterrand running around doing Luciferian rituals. Ronald Reagan obsessed with his astrologer, which is just an offshoot of all this, and what color tie he wore and when he spoke to the minute according to it. This is what goes on. You know about Hollywood and the occult and the Rolling Stones and a sacrificed dead black child and no one got in trouble because government officials were there reportedly. You didn't know about that? Look it up. John Lennon, they tried, of course, to recruit him into this. That's why his later music was all about Luciferianism being bad, devil worship being bad, population control being bad, how the elite are devils. And so they killed him. Look at Eyes Wide Shut, Stanley Kubrick, who you better believe got invited to things like this. And there's names very similar to George Soros in it as, you know, the bad guy character. And his wife, he finds out, is really an occultist. And he died a day after refusing to cut 24 minutes of it. Well, they cut it. You better believe they cut out of this film. And I'm showing some video. Go ahead and play some audio with that as well. Start that over. Yeah, keep it rolling there. So, and then we also have a clip of a French film showing this, but I want to, again, explain, they don't see themselves as devil worshipers. And what they do is they finally get populations to accept public sacrifice. The Romans would sacrifice people at a funeral. And then that became a stylized fight between the slaves. Then it became gladiators. The Greeks actually engaged in human sacrifice. They sacrificed their children. They threw them off cliffs. Here's a clip from La Vampire, New Redemption. And they have, you know, the lady commit suicide under mind control. That's part of one of their rituals. They all put their little mask on now. And again, this is how the system throws it in your face. We have photos of top Rothschild family members wearing Baphomet necklaces at sporting events. I mean, old women with giant chains around their neck and in a $5,000 gown with Baphomet. I mean, this is what they're into because it's all about, you're animals, we're going to eat you. See, they don't just kill us, they embrace it. Now, I give you Fritz Springmeier, author of Bloodlines, the Illuminati. He's going to speak about 30 minutes, then we'll open the phones up in the last 45. But he joins us today. Fritz Springmeier, Bloodlines, the Illuminati, available at Infowars.com. And when I read this, it had to be, I don't know, 99 or so. I don't remember. I was sent a copy, been on air a few years. I was like, this can't be true. But then over the years, so much of it turned out to be true. I mean, I was there at Bohemian Grove when they were doing the mock ritual of killing a child. And the old men, I was like, oh, this is interesting. They were like, be quiet. And they were just going like, I mean, this was religious. I mean, I've been in Baptist churches and Holy Rolling churches growing up, folks, and these people were getting off on it more than Christians worshiping God. I mean, they were in rapture. Fritz Springmeier, good to have you here with us, my friend.
Thank you, Alex. Good to be with you and all your listeners.
Do you agree or disagree with anything I just said in the last 10 minutes?
I thought you were doing a good job of covering things.
Okay, I'm going to just do something different.
Don't have a problem with it.
Well, thank you, my friend. I'm going to, this segment and the next few, I'm going to just sit back, whatever issues you want to cover about the ruling elite, the families, who they are, whatever direction you want to go in. I know you sent some photos that we're going to put on screen. Radio listeners can later go to Infowars.com. We'll post the videos by tomorrow of this interview so people can check this for themselves. But you've got the floor, Fritz.
Okay, well, thank you. You mentioned a couple things that were related to what I had in mind. One is, as you mentioned, Philip de Rothschild, and I wanted to bring out some of the misconceptions about the Illuminati. And one of the misconceptions is that the Rothschilds are a European phenomenon, but the Philip de Rothschild, she and her husband, the Baron, went into business with Robert Mondavi down in Napa Valley, California. So we've got Rothschilds all across the United States. That family is not just a European phenomenon. And you're going to show a picture of her that you have. So that's great. I also wanted to discuss along that line some of the other misconceptions that people have about the Illuminati. One of them is that all of these members in the Illuminati are kingpins in the Illuminati. That's sort of like imagining that within a tribe, all of them are chiefs. It's not the case. Some of these people are just low-level flunkies. It's just like an analogy is like there's millions of gods in Hinduism. You know, you have Vishnu and Tara and Shiva and Kali, but a lot of these, the majority of gods, nobody's even heard of them. They're obscure. So some of these illuminated members of the Illuminati are not kingpins in any shape or form. They're not all chiefs in this tribe. But your pillars of society are very oftentimes Illuminati, and that's one of the misconceptions too that people have is, you know, when we get into discussing these people, you know, we can look at the dark side of them, like you were bringing out. There's a dark side to them. But to make another analogy, when Christians read the Bible and they read about the Pharisees, they see all the negative things that Christ said about them. Oh, these people are snakes, you know. And they think that the Pharisees were just horrible. But if you lived back then, who were the Pharisees? They were the people's role models. A Pharisee had a lot of power. He was the equivalent of several things wrapped up in one. Not only was he the equivalent of a Supreme Court justice, but also a congressman and the head of a Bible college.
And a judge.
And plus and they had the reputation of somebody like Billy Graham. So these were the people that a mother would want her child to emulate. I want my son to grow up to be like that Pharisee, you know. And so we're dealing with the same thing today. These Illuminati kingpins, a lot of them are pillars in society. Some of them, their occupation is philanthropist. A philanthropist, that means he spends his time giving money away. So it's not like they're not doing good deeds. It's not like that, like they're just.
Fritz, let me stop you. Fritz, your Skype.
Them,
Fritz, your Skype's breaking up a bit. It was great last week.